Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I have not been posted lately, and that is because work-wise and school-wise. And school-wise is I just started ASU last week. I started on Thursday. It was a bit late, but yeah, Thursday was my first day. So I'm here to make a video about the things I wish I could have learned before I started ASU. So if you are curious, keep on watching. So the things I would have liked to know before I started ASU is money wise. So my tuition was up to $5,000, and when I saw how much my tuition was gonna be, I freaked out because I was like, it was between maybe a month, maybe 2 months, around there. I saw, the payment that was worth for my tuition, and I freaked out because I was like, where am I gonna come up with $5,000 to pay for my tuition? So then during that time I was working within my community college, but that contract was gonna start to end pretty soon. So I had to look other jobs to see like where else. Like, I know this contract is gonna end pretty soon, but I need to find another job. I need to come up with $5,000 in 2 months because that is the payment that I owe in order to go to ASU. So there was a lot of like job applications. I went on Indeed, and I did some job applications, and I did get called back on some of them, and in other ones I didn't make the cut. So it was kind of stressing because on the back of my mind I was thinking about, my contract is ending as PC, and I need to find a better job that makes, I get benefits, and it's more than the minimum wage, which is $10.50. So I was looking for a job maybe like $15 an hour. So I was making a plan of myself, like not spend anything. The least I could spend is, because I do have a pet, is to buy him, what he needs, and the least, personal stuff that I need. So that was a little bit of a struggle. So then, I talked to my parents, and I talked to my dad, and, we were trying to make up ideas, what were our plans, how are we gonna, pay this $5,000 of tuition. So, we started having that plan where you need to start saving, and my dad was going to try to help with, be able to help me financially to pay my tuition. As things gotten by, I started to think about my financial aid. Is this how much did my financial aid not cover it, or things like that? So it was kind of stressing, and then I did call financial aid, and that's one of the things I wish I could have known, is that when I saw the $5,000, I should have not reacted to be like, I need to come up with $5,000 like ASAP. I should have like calmed down, call financial aid service, talk to them and see, is this the money I have to pay, and things like that. And that's something that I did do, but further on I did call financial aid, and I talked about how I did get qualified for the Pell Grant and these other 2 grants that I received, plus 2 loans. But I wanted to make it super clear, I didn't want to do the loans. I only want to do my grants, but if I had to pay those $5,000, I was willing to use those grants. I mean, I did not plan to become college debt at a young age, how normal college students become once they start attending university. So that's something that I kind of would have known, is that when you see that payment, don't freak out. Just talk to financial aid, and you guys come up with something. So with that being said, I went from not paying $5,000 my financial aid did pay majority of my tuition. I did have to pay a remainder based on my tuition. My tuition paid majority, most of it. However, there was a certain amount of the remainder of that tuition based on what my financial aid did cover. I had to pay, and I paid 630 34, I believe. Yeah, was it 634 or 600 like 30 38, around there. I have the receipt right here. Hold on. I just want to make it, clear. Yes, I paid 638, which was the remainder of my tuition after my financial aid had went through. And that I paid it out of my money, out of my pocket. I did do some saving. So yeah, that's something I would have known, is that when you see your payment, and if it's like a big, huge amount, don't stress yourself, because one, that's just gonna give you a headache, and two, you're gonna stress yourself even more. Just relax, just make up a plan, and talk to financial aid. Another thing is, save up money in advance. That's something I would have, liked to know before I did all this with ASU, is save up money in advance, maybe a year before. If I would have known that I was about to, my tuition was gonna look up to $5,000, and thankfully, financial aid paid for it, but I only had to pay the remainder. If I would have known this was gonna happen, I would have probably saved like maybe a year before I enrolled to ASU. Started saving money 2 years, 1 year, before all this happened. Because if I would have saved up money back then, I known I would have enough money to pay, if I had to pay those $5,000. Another thing is, I would have liked to know is that how their system works, because compared to how my community college work, it's more different compared to what they do at ASU. Like, for example, for parking at PC, back then you would have to buy a sticker, but then they changed that policy. Now you can park anywhere you want. However, going to ASU, when you go to ASU, you have to buy a parking permit. Plus the parking, when you buy the parking permit, you have like a reservation for your parking. So they tell you what parking lot zone you have to park. They have it number 1 through 12, and then they tell you like what parking zone, like number 5 or number 12, things like that. And that's where you're designated to park. You can't park. So if you're designated to park on parking zone number 12, you can't park in parking zone number 1, which is the across the street to the campus, because it's not your designated parking lot, and they can't tow your truck. So that's something I would have liked to learn. Another thing that I would have liked to learn about ASU is the textbooks, which at Phoenix College, the way they used to handle it was they would give us money to the people who qualified for financial aid. But at ASU, I didn't know that when I bought my textbooks, I had the option to use my Pell Grant. My Pell Grant has up to $650. However, if I use my Pell Grant, I have to pay still my textbooks. So if I didn't have the money for my textbooks, I would have used my Pell Grant, but later on, I would still have to pay for my textbook. It's just like a little bit of a loan. It's a loan where they give you that money in the meantime, but then they have a certain deadline where you have to actually pay them back. So that's something I would have liked to know. Before I was started ASU, I did not use my Pell Grant. to pay for my textbook, I also had another saved up money on the side to pay for my textbooks. And yeah, that's another thing I would have liked to learn before I would have enrolled to ASU. Another thing is like the transportation wise. I know from my house to ASU it's a little bit further away, but like the shuttle is free, so I didn't know that if you pay for parking, people who pay for parking, half that money that you pay goes to people that can use the shuttle, which I didn't know about that, and that's something I would have liked to know. Another thing is that I would have liked to know before going to ASU is the stress that is coming, because everything's very different, teaching wise, test wise, and professor wise. I know in my community college it was more lenient, easier. You like skip a day, you could skip a day and not worried about a thing. But I didn't know that once I enrolled to ASU, this was gonna be like a bigger commitment, and it's kind of scary, but this is something I'm very excited for. But other than that, yeah, so these are just a few things I would have liked to know before I got myself enrolled with ASU with my university. So I really hope that you guys are a senior or way before high school, just start doing research now and start preparing ahead, start saving up money, and start thinking ahead, because if you do think ahead, it's worth it. Later on, when your time comes, you'll be mentally prepared. You don't have to stress about anything, because if you don't, then you end up like me, where you get stressed and it's a lot of like planning and thinking. So just be absolutely be ahead of the game. That's mainly my tip and goal. But yeah, so if you have any questions, college questions for me, just comment down below. Just remember to give this video a like and subscribe, and please turn on that bell notification. I'm going to start giving out notification shout outs. If you would like for me to give you a notification shout out, just comment down below, give this video a like and subscribe, and comment down below what would you like to do when you grow up, either if you're in middle school, or if you're in high school, what are you planning to major on? If you're in college, what are you currently major on? And yeah, just let me know. But yeah, so if you guys want a notification shout out, just like and subscribe. And yeah, I really hope that you guys like this video, and thank you for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye guys.